All right. We once again have Syerah Virani with us. You recall she spoke to us about business plans, a unique, endearing, and inspiring talk. Today she's going to talk on personal brand, the brand that is you. You know Syerah, she's a fearless entrepreneur. She walked away from busy Bay Street law practice to take over as editor-in-chief of mybindi.com. She is a product of Thai Quest, and that's when she walked off from her job and started her entrepreneurship venture. In addition to her role at MyBindi, Syerah is also founder of the Toronto chapter of the Network of Indian Professionals. Syerah has an engaging style and brings great passion to her experience. Fully agree. Through her company, Entrepreneur Incorporated, Syerah assists enterprises with business plans, marketing action plans, social media presence, and inspires individuals to fuel their passion with purpose to create profit. She does continue to practice law as a sole practitioner and specializes in advising small businesses and startups. Please help me welcome Syerah to speak on personal branding.
Is my doggy collar working? It is working. Can you all hear me? I tend to get very animated. How many of you were here for the business plans session? So you know I get very excited, very animated, and so all over the place. So if I sound like I'm yelling, let me know. Okay, so today we're going to talk about personal brand. We've heard a lot actually about branding for your company, for your startup, and for the businesses that you're going to create. But my audience here is entrepreneurs, right? Every one of you is going to escape cubicle nation and set up your own venture and your own company and thrive. So whether you like it or not, by choice or design, you will be the face of your company, at least initially, right? So it's very important that what you are is consistent with the messaging of your brand, okay? So there are many ways to talk about personal branding. I'm going to focus on personal branding from the viewpoint of an entrepreneur. So we're going to talk about personal brand, and the brand is you. So think of the company called Me Inc., which is your company, and you are the chief marketing officer of your own company. And how are you marketing yourself? Now the fact that you also happen to be the CEO of your own enterprise, right? We've got that brand and we've got your brand, and there has to be a nexus, something that flows between what you are and what your company represents. So what is personal brand? We'll get into that in a second, but let's play a game, okay? So here's a game we're going to play. I'm going to put up an image on the screen here, and I've picked images that I know you will all recognize. Some of these names have already been thrown around earlier, so you know what to expect. But you don't get points for identifying the person. But what I want you to do is identify what you think of as a quality when you see that person's picture there, okay? So let's see, and let's make this interactive. You're all eating. I don't want you falling asleep. So let's get some engagement here. I'll put some pictures up. I want you to tell me who it is. And then I want you to tell me what qualities you think of when you see that picture. So here's the first one. Who is it? Shout it out. Steve Jobs. What do you think of when you see Steve Jobs' picture? What are the qualities that you think of?
Pursuit of perfection.
Pursuit of perfection. What else?
Innovation.
Innovation. Absolutely. Innovation, pursuit of perfection. Okay. Donald Trump. What do you think of when you think of the Donald? Arrogant. Arrogant, luxury, money, correct? You think money, you think lifestyle, you think arrogance. That's Donald Trump. Who's this? Oprah. What do you think of when you think of Oprah?
Courage in the face of adversity.
Courage in the face of adversity. Self-development, right? Champion of women's rights, or living the life you want. Is that right? Those are the kind of things that come to mind when you think of this person, right? We haven't even got Who is this? Mother Teresa. What do you think of when you think of Mother Teresa?
Compassion.
Compassion, helping, generosity, sainthood. Those are the things you think of. Now, we haven't even talked about these people's companies, right? But already you will see that there's a pattern. What you think of when you see that individual is not very dissimilar of what you think of when you think of the companies and the products that they stand for. When you look at your iPhone and your iPad and your Mac, you're thinking innovation. You're thinking the pursuit of perfection. When you look at the Trump hotels, the Trump buildings, the Trump casinos, you're thinking arrogance, you're thinking luxury, right? When you see Oprah, you see her magazine, you see her talk show. She does exactly that on her talk show. That is personal branding. You've got your company, but what are you? And are you imbibing the values that are completely consistent with that of your company and your company's brand? So at some point there is no crossover between this is her brand and that's the company's brand. They flow, right? So what I'm going to talk to you about is the importance of building that personal brand for yourself, where not only is your company's brand recognizable, but you as an individual, no matter where you are, you're going to be meeting a lot of people. You're going to be friending a lot of people on Facebook. You're going to be connecting with a lot of people on LinkedIn. You're going to get followers on Twitter. You're going to be speaking at conferences. You're going to be blogging. There's a message that's going out there, and people should constantly take that message and say, yep, it's consistent with whatever rigid product service that is your company's brand. So if you want to distill this down, what is an entrepreneur's personal brand? Your value proposition. What do you stand for? What is your personal statement, right? If you are a plumber, and if you can fix, I don't know, a bathroom faucet or whatever, better than any other plumber, right? Something in your branding, whether it's how you message your website or your business card, that personal statement has to come through. That becomes your core value statement. So ask yourself, what is it that you stand for? You've already heard differentiation. Why are you standing out doing that particular role, right? Because at the end of the day, you want to stand out of the crowd. That's what brands do. Whether it's your product, your service, or yourself. How are you going to differentiate yourself as an XYZ? So what is it that you stand for? What is it that makes you stand out? And marketability. What is it that makes you compelling? How is it that you become memorable? How are people going to remember you? Because no matter how brilliant you are in your value proposition, and no matter how much you are able to differentiate yourself, if you're not out there marketing yourself, that's a key piece of the branding message that you're not working, right? So those are the three key sort of lessons which my entire presentation can sort of boil down to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break each one of those down and have a little bit of a narrative with you. So the first one, as you saw, is your value proposition. What do you stand for? Here is the biggest disconnect when it comes to personal branding. You are actually three people. Yeah? Every one of you. You are what you think you are. You are what others think you are. And you are what you actually are. Right? So you might think that I am a genius when it comes to plumbing. Let's use our plumber, the plumber example. If you think you are the best plumber out there, but the perception that somebody has of you is that, oh gosh, I have to get him, he's good, but you know, I've got to stare at his butt every time he's doing it. That's what they're remembering. Not your plumbing skills, but something completely different of how they're perceiving you. And what you actually are is maybe you're really not that great. Maybe you are the only plumber in that geographical terrain, and that's why you are the de facto plumber that they're coming to. So maybe you're not necessarily what you are. So the first thing you want to do when you try and do or create your brand is what I call the brand audit. You want to figure out these three things, and the best way to do it is, enroll and recruit your family, your friends, your clients, your colleagues, and ask them, how do you perceive me? Write down what your perception is, and then write down what your core competencies are. So we'll talk about how do you go about discovering your personal brand. So the first question you have to ask yourself is, what are your core competencies, right? So if you are trying to brand yourself as an accountant or a consultant, or, I've used my example throughout this presentation because it was the easiest way for me to give a concrete example and to brand myself, right? So what are my core competencies? Okay, so I'm a trained lawyer. I went to law school and I slaved and I articled, and I have a core competency in that I'm a transactions lawyer. I love businesses. I understand businesses. Not just from a legal perspective, I am also an entrepreneur. I own businesses. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have 3 or 4 businesses that are currently on the go. And every time I come up with an idea that's good, that I feel can fly, I'm always looking for a way to monetize it. Right? So those are my core competencies. I'm a lawyer. I think I'm a good communicator. That's my brand audit. I think I'm a good speaker, and I'm able to communicate complex ideas into very simple, practical solutions or task lists. So those are my competencies. What are your core competencies? Because that is essentially going to be the foundation from which you will build your brand. What is your personal value statement, right? What is it that you think is that you bring to the table? So I have a coaching company, as Lalit said. My coaching company is called Zontrepreneur. It's not called Entrepreneurs Inc. or Incubator or anything. It's called Zontrepreneur. And, like Peter said, it's mashing 2 words. It's mashing Zen and it's mashing entrepreneurs. And I come up with Zontrepreneur, and my core value is that I help entrepreneurs get a Zen-like sense of reward and satisfaction from pursuing their businesses. What is my core personal value statement for that company? It's passion, purpose, profit. Those are the 3 words which are my value statement. Which means when I coach entrepreneurs and I coach businesses, I tell them, I'm going to help you discover your passion. And I'm going to fuel that passion to find purpose. And together, I will help you create profit. Right? So that is my personal value statement. What is your personal value statement which aligns and sits on top of your core competencies? And your personality. At the end of the day, no matter how fancy your business card is or how clever your company is, you could pay somebody to come up with a really clever name for your company. You could get a graphic designer to create a really striking logo for your company. You could pay lawyers and make sure that all the legal safeguards are in place to protect the intellectual value of your company. But at the end of the day, if you as an individual are not walking the walk and talking the talk of what your company stands for, then there's a disconnect. So that's how you discover your brand. Creating your brand. I've thrown this track there. It's actually from a different presentation that I do, and that presentation is called Harnessing the Power of Referrals and Word of Mouth Marketing. But I put it in here because ultimately, brand marketing is word of mouth. And we've already heard that. So I'm going to throw this slide in here because every marketing process requires these 7 stages. The first one is get to know me, get to like me, get to trust me. After you know me, like me, trust me, try me. Then you'll buy me. And then after you've bought me, you'll do it again. And then when you become consistently loyal to me, what are you going to do? You're going to refer. That is the classic, most effective referral process or marketing cycle that I work with when I'm doing a different seminar. but it's very relevant here. Because what are you marketing here? Yourself, your brand. And those steps don't change. In everything you do, you've got to get people to know you, like you, trust you, try you, buy you, repeat you, and then tell somebody else about you. And that's how you grow your brand. So how are you going to create that brand for yourself? You will need something like a toolkit. Now, you can't go to Home Depot and say, I want a branding toolkit, right? It's not that simple, but it's there. There is a toolkit, and I'm going to open that toolbox for you. And I'm going to tell you, this is the stuff you need to build your brand. It's your branding toolkit, and I want every one of you to go home or go back to your work tomorrow and start thinking about this, because you know what? You have all experimented with these tools, but not with soul, not with heart, not fully. You flirted with it. You don't build a brand by flirting with something. You invest in it, right? So let's look at the first one, which is the most obvious one. Everybody in this room needs a business card, right? It doesn't matter if your startup is still just getting off the ground. You need something that you are able to give to somebody if they ask for your business card. And your business card needs to have all those things that we talked about, right? So this is my business card, and some of you have it because you've collected it from the last session. It's got my name, and it's got lawyer, coach, entrepreneur. That's it. That's my personal value statement. That's what I am. That's what I want you to remember, right? I don't have a picture of me on the beach. I have a picture that is representative of those three roles that I do, right? I have my phone number. I actually chose not to clutter up my business card or the front of the business card with emails, website, or any of that. And that's another lesson. So many people continue to think of the business card as a one-sided tool. There's a whole back to your business card. And if you are not using it, that's wasted real estate. And you're cluttering up too much on one page. If nothing else, put a quote. Put something about you that's personal. Say I live in Toronto with my 2 dogs, and it doesn't matter. Because what's it going to do? It's going to get that person to know you, like you. If you are a strong Maple Leaf supporter or whatever, put it down, make it personal. My business card, if you flip the back of it, actually has all my different email addresses, because I said I have multiple companies. And there was a time when I used to carry multiple business cards. So if I was meeting a client that was my legal client, I'd have a lawyer card, right? And then I'd have my Bindi card, which is the media company that I run. Then I have a coaching card, which is entrepreneur. And then because I was the founder of Net at Toronto, and I was the president of Net at Toronto for 1.5 years, and I met a lot of people in that role, I had a Net card. And what did I do? On each card, I had the logo of that company or that brand. And then one day, I said, you know what? At the end of the day, what is the brand here? It's me. It's not these companies. The companies are there. But when I meet these people, I want them to remember me. Because this is my brand. You have to think of yourself as a corporation and yourself as a brand. So I put my own picture on it, right? And when you put pictures, realtors do this, but they do it so badly. They have no imagination when it comes to putting their pictures on their business cards, right? I love the idea of having a business card, or a photo on your business card. But don't do it because you're supposed to do it, right? Do it so that business cards don't have to be horizontal. They can be vertical. They don't have to be a certain size. They can be smaller. They can flip. I've seen so many creative cards, and it's so cheap to get good, I won't say cheap, it's so competitive to get good business cards. A site that I really like, and I often throw resources like this, so take them down because they're not in the PowerPoint, it'll be on the video though, is moo.com, right? It's a fantastic creative company that specializes just in business cards. So look up moo.com, and if nothing else, just look at their samples. You will be blown away by some of the examples they give you. They actually have a process where if you are a graphic artist, so I have a client who is a photographer, and she wanted to create her business card. So we used moo.com, and you know what we did? You can upload 50 prints of your work, and moo.com will give you business cards where the back is different. So you have a different photo on each card. And she tells me, Syerah, that there are clients, they take 5 of my cards because they just want 5 of those prints. How great is that? I got a restaurant to print a business card where on the back of each card is a different menu setting. So think outside the box, be creative. There are tools out there, but your business card is the first item in your branding toolkit. So use it wisely and use it often and make it effective. Your resume. How many people in this room actually have an online resume? That's it. Yeah, like online resume, that's it. 5, 6 people. Why? Why is it that in the day and age when it costs you practically nothing to put something up online, you are still resorting to a paper resume? You know how cool it is when you send somebody an application and say, visit www whatever and check out my online resume for more information. And on that resume, you can use hyperlinks, you can use images, you can put YouTubes, you can put videos. Do not limit yourself to a 2-dimensional paper resume. How many people in this room here have their name or some variation of their name or something that's their value statement already registered as a domain? 2 people. Why? Do you know how much it costs to register a domain? $10. $10 a year is all it costs to register a domain. Do you not think you are worth that investment? And if your name is popular or common and is already taken, come up with a variation. If you are a plumber, call yourself joetheplumber.com, right? If you are a tax guy, say Bob the tax guy. Make yourself memorable, and that's where you will start building a repository of content which is going to be searchable, right? So I'm actually lucky, I have 2 names. My first name is Salima, my middle name is Syerah, right? So if you go to salima.ca, you will go straight to my LinkedIn profile. And you know why? Because I don't want people to look for me on LinkedIn. I don't want them to spend time going through 25 different Salimas, saying which Salima should I be really adding. No, I've made it really easy for them. Just go to www.salima.ca and you'll go straight to my LinkedIn profile and you can add and connect with me. Costs me $10 a year. And the hosting, there's no hosting because it's a mass redirect, right? So I'm not hosting anything. I also own Syerah.com. If you typed in Syerah.com, you'll go straight to my Facebook profile. Again, simple ways to get yourself branded, to get yourself in those search engines. So create a resume. The reason I put that as my resume is because I have multiple enterprises and LinkedIn is the best way for me to get people to find me and understand what I do. And then each one of the companies that I own has its own website which has an About Me section which goes into more detail. So again, minimal investment, maximum returns. So start using that. Everybody go onto $10.ca or GoDaddy.com and get yourself a domain. If that's the gift you give yourself this Christmas, do it, okay? Your LinkedIn profile. How many people in this room actually have a LinkedIn profile? Okay, a lot more hands. Here's the trick question. How many people here, if I went on your LinkedIn profile, I will see a status bar that says 100% complete. There, 2, 3. Why? Why are you not taking the trouble to use tools that somebody else has given you? All it requires is some thought, some time, to put the information there. They're not asking you anything that you don't already know. They're asking you, where have you worked? What have you done there? How long were you there? What are your hobbies? What's your Facebook address? What's your Twitter account? You know all this information. So why are you not completing your LinkedIn profile? So the next item on your to-do list, I want every one of you to go back and audit your LinkedIn profiles and make sure it's 100% complete. And one part of that 100% completion is to get a recommendation. How many people in this room, actually there's very few because not so many have LinkedIn profiles, but recommendation is one of the most abused features of LinkedIn if you're not using it right. A recommendation is a privilege. It's not your right. You're not entitled to a recommendation. Would you agree? So when you send somebody a recommendation or ask somebody for a recommendation, and if all you're doing is using LinkedIn's template and hitting send, you know what that other person on the other end, who is really busy, you know what we get? We get an email that says, hey, I would like you to recommend me from LinkedIn. Do you think I really feel motivated to recommend you? No. How would you ask for a recommendation? How do you use that to your advantage? First of all, you have to deserve a recommendation. So hopefully you've done something that's worthy of a recommendation. Second of all, you ask for feedback informally, right? So your clients, you work with clients, you've done work on a project, and they're happy with you. So you know that they really liked what you've done. So you say, hey, you know what, that's great, thanks so much for the feedback. Send them an email and say, I really value your recommendation. When we last met, you said that, and remind them, what was it about you that they liked? Make it easy for them. The same goes with reference letters. We have a lot of interns that work with us, sorry, I have a cold. And often interns will come and tell me, after their internship, hey, I got a reference letter. And you know what I say? Absolutely. But go write me the reference letter that you want me to write for you. And there's two reasons for that. A, I want to know what you think. Remember what I said? What you think you are, what your perception is, and what you actually are. I want to know how you are assessing your own work during your internship. And sometimes it's going to be grossly overstated. I managed this project. No, you didn't, right? And sometimes it's self-deprecating. They don't give themselves enough credit. It goes both ways. Often you don't give yourself the credit you deserve. So doing that, I say, go write the reference you want me to write for you, give it to me, and then I will tweak it and revise it, customize it, and make it authentic, right? So when you ask for a reference, always make that offer. I'd be happy to draft something for you to look at, which you can review. Always think of your audience and say, how am I going to make this person's life easier because I'm the person that's benefiting from this recommendation, from this reference, right? That's all part and parcel of how you're branding because this person will remember you, not just for what you did. If you see exemplary service, if you see outstanding performances, surprise that person with a recommendation. It's like getting a card in the mail. When you're not expecting it and you see a recommendation. Do that. Do that once a week, once a month. Every time you think you saw something great, take some time because that is building brand equity for you. You will be remembered as the person as, you know what, that person really gets it. So that's the kind of behavior you want to bring in. Okay, LinkedIn profile. Now you notice, one thing that I haven't said, but I think it's obvious, but I'll say it. Your business card, your LinkedIn, there is a consistent use of photos, right? It doesn't have to be the same photo, but it has to be the same sort of theme. Now, LinkedIn, I maintain, is a more professional sort of arena compared to Facebook, which is a little bit more casual, right? My Facebook photo, I'll change it often. Because at the end of the day, it's my personal profile. It's about me. And if I picked up a good bargain, I will put that out there. If I'm having a great day at the beach, I will post those photos, right? But as a default, I typically have, actually that photo is from a Thai event where I was emceeing. So I've got my Thai badge on there. But that's my Facebook profile. Again, branding. What are you putting on your Facebook? If you are using your LinkedIn and your Facebook and your Twitter accounts to say, life's not fair, I wonder why. How many times have you seen, people put these, I wish people would just leave me alone. Well, why are you posting it on Facebook? If that's really what you want, is to be left alone. If you are using social networking tools, always ask yourself this. Whatever I am posting on my social profile right now, is it helping somebody to get to know me? Is it helping them to like me? Is it helping them trust me? If you are not achieving that, you don't have to post it, right? So if you think you are a Maple Leafs fan, absolutely post it because they're getting to know a side of you. You're giving them information about you. So this is my Facebook, and that's from when I did my slides. But what do I say? I say I'm actually speaking at Thai, right? It's supporting my brand. What is my brand? That I like working with entrepreneurs. I coach entrepreneurs. I like to speak. So that's my brand, and that's what I put right there. What you can't see here is a little info section, but you'll see that in the info section it says the same thing, lawyer, coach, entrepreneur. It also says change agent and some other things because there's more room. But it has to be consistent with what you are at the end of the day. So go back and audit your Facebook profiles. And please do not use Facebook to play Mafia Wars and to get Farmville and throw cushions at people or get astrology reviews or, it's crazy. It's a waste of productivity and you're hurting your brand because that's what people are going to see when they log onto your social networking profiles. Your Twitter account. Twitter is a little different from Facebook. Facebook is almost, it's okay if you go and post something maybe once a day, once a week even, it's okay. Twitter has a sense of urgency to it. It's in the now. It's right now. It's real time, right? What am I doing right now? What did I just see? What did I just do? Who am I just with? That's Twitter. So as a company, if you're going to have a Twitter account for your company, you better be on it and monitoring it. Because if there's anything worse than not having a Twitter account, it's having a Twitter account that's not being monitored. You will really hurt your brand because people will expect, when you put that out there, you're saying, I'm approachable and I'm approachable within a very immediate period of time, which can be 6 hours or less. Anything more than a day, it's already old news and you've already created a lot of damage. If you have a personal Twitter account, again, brand yourself. The photo you put there, the name you use, and this also goes for your email addresses. I mean, if anybody in this room is still using email addresses like the cute girl next door at hotmail.com, and I still see that on resumes, romeoboy@gmail.com. No, I'm not going to hire you. If you can't come up with there are so many free servers. So what you put in your email address is very important. What you use as your Twitter handle is very important. It's got to be relevant to your personal brand, your core value, your value statement. Everything has to mesh. So again, that's my Twitter profile, and you'll see that actually that's got a different status from next week. So on Monday, November 7th, I'll be speaking at the Etobicoke District CA Association's Practice Management. So I am actually speaking there, and I'm speaking on social media for accountants, so help me God. But that is the kind of stuff you want to put on Twitter. But at the same time, you want to put stuff like, inspirational stuff. Or I saw a show at the Sony Center, and I put, Bharati is so amazing. If you haven't seen it, go. Why have I put it? There is nothing in that feed that is not going to get you to know me better. Hopefully you'll like me a little better because you'll see that I like the kind of stuff that you like, right? And there's some common ground there. And with time, maybe you'll get to trust me because you'll say this woman is consistently speaking about social media and marketing and branding. Maybe she knows a thing or two, right? So it's building that trust. With Twitter, just like with LinkedIn, it's important to engage your followers. If all you do is just tweet, and not acknowledge and listen to what your followers are saying, if they retweet your comments, thank them. If they say something that's smart, then give them credit. If they send you a message, it's an investment. But if you're going to do it with your heart and soul and do it right. I've seen so many people that go and create these Twitter profiles and Facebook accounts and LinkedIn accounts and then come back to me and say, you know what, I did all that, but this social media thing is not really working for me, right? And you know why it's not working? Because it's like going to a personal trainer and saying, I want to lose 20 pounds, and then you go there to Fitness Depot and you buy a treadmill, you buy a Stairmaster, you buy a Pilates ball, you buy the yoga kit, you buy everything and you set up your gym, and then you come back a month later and say, you know what, it's not working, I haven't lost any weight. What's that trainer going to tell you? You have to work that equipment. You have to get on it and work it. Unless you work it, you're not going to see the results. So just creating all these profiles is not going to give you branding. You have to work it, okay? Your website. You need to have your own website, or at the very least, you need to have a blog. And there are many reasons for this. Today, the first thing people are going to do when they meet you is they're going to Google you, right? It doesn't matter if you're hiring somebody for a new job, if you're going to meet a new client, or if you're going to date someone, right? Even if you meet somebody online or in a bar, you're going to go home and Google them. And you're going to say, I want to see what the goods are on this guy or girl before I go out for another drink. It's just the way things are done, right? And if that's just the way things are done, you want to make sure that when your name is put into that search bar for Google, it's all the good stuff that's coming up. And how is all the good stuff going to come up if you're not going to go and create it with your toolkit? So you have to create a blog. It's actually very, very inexpensive to have your own blog. Companies like TypePad and WordPress give you everything you need. And the cost for a TypePad Pro blog is $100 a year. That's less than $10 a month. And it's powerful in what it lets you do and how it lets you customize. And you know what you could do? You could actually take your name, joetheplumber.com, and redirect that to your TypePad. So now, your TypePad blog becomes your website. So when people type in Joe the Plumber, they go straight to your blog. They don't have to memorize a long-winded WordPress or TypePad names. These are what are called content management sites. And there are so many out there, but the two most popular are WordPress and, so this is not one of my company sites, it's Entrepreneur. Again, that's the landing page. As soon as you go on the landing page, you'll know what I do, and it's all there. Now that you've discovered your brand, and you've created your brand, what are you going to do? You're going to get the word out. You want to communicate your brand. You want to make sure everybody else understands your brand, gets it, and is talking about it, right? How are you going to do it? It's in everything you do. If you think that your branding is limited to your website, you're wrong. If you think that your brand is limited to your business card or your logo design, you're wrong. Your brand is in how you treat the waitress who serves you meals at the restaurant. Your brand is in how you respond to your clients, how you respond to your emails, how you send your text messages. Everything you do, how you dress, how you address clients, customers, kids, elderly, it's all speaking to your brand, right? And so you have to say, Marketing is not a disparate part of your life that, oh, that's my business marketing. No, you are constantly marketing. Everything you do, you are marketing, you're sending a message. Let's make sure it's the right one. Be authentic. Don't try and be something you're not, right? Donald Trump could not be Mother Teresa. That's just not the brand. He thrives on being arrogant, and his product line resembles that arrogance and the luxury and the lifestyle. And you know what? He's built an empire out of it. So be what you are and then grow from there. Be authentic. Give before you receive. Generosity. If somebody asked me to define networking, I would say generosity. Because that's what networking really is. Give before you receive, and it will come. Listen and learn. Don't spam. Just because you're now branding with this website and LinkedIn, don't spam people. Connect with me, refer me, recommend me right here. No, you're going to drive people away. So don't spam, be selective, and do it wisely. How else can you do your communication of your brand? Once you've got your social networking tools up and running, you can comment on your own status updates. You can comment on people who are more affluent and influential, right? So if you want to get noticed because of a particular issue, make a good observation on the blog that other people are reading. If you don't have 5,000 readers on your blog, it's okay. Because you know what? I love Seth Godin. He's the guru of marketing. And I love his blogs. And I regularly comment on his blogs. And sometimes people read my comments and come and talk to me. I'm building relationships of his readership. And it's all good because I'm giving constructive feedback. I'm not spamming his blog. So comment on other people, retweet other people's messages, contribute content, speak at events, go to your local community, go to schools, go to libraries. There are so many places that are looking for speakers in your expertise. Exploit them, explore them, and make them work to your branding advantage. Everyone here is nodding. I see that a lot. Everyone here is agreeing. I see that a lot. What I don't see a lot is people going home and actually implementing and executing. It's easy to get you to buy into what I'm saying, right? But the real work is when you leave these rooms and go back and not get caught up in your life and say, you know what, all those lessons, I'm going to start doing it, because that's when it really shows results. That's my information. Thank you for your time.
Very good.